Here are my top 10 open world games like Fallout and why I think you should play them. I'll go ahead and tell you right now that I won't be listing any Bethesda games, since I'll assume you're already aware of the Elder Scrolls series, the other Fallout games, and Starfield. However, one game that sort of slips through the cracks in that regard is The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds was made by Obsidian Entertainment, the same devs behind Fallout New Vegas. Outer Worlds will feel very similar to recent Fallout games. There are lots of items to loot and plenty of enemies to fight, along with weapons to try out on those enemies and plenty to explore. You'll obtain a ship, form a crew, and embark on a sci-fi journey through this fun RPG where corporations control just about everything. And you get to decide how you feel about that, and what you're going to do about it. So if you want something as close to Fallout's mechanics and core gameplay as possible, The Outer Worlds fits the bill. It's available on Windows through Steam and Epic, as well as PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. In Metro Exodus, the sequel to Metro 23 and Last Light, you'll board the Aurora, a heavily modified steam train, and join other survivors as you search for new life in this open-world survival shooter. The Metro series takes place in an apocalyptic world where paranormal and mutated entities terrorize the surface and the Metro tunnels below. This gritty yet beautiful world offers a unique experience, in which you'll scavenge and craft to customize your handmade weaponry. The fate of your comrades is tied to your decisions, and not all of them will survive. This immersive horror shooter will keep you on your toes, whether you're creeping around, trying not to be noticed by a monster in the dark, or running and gunning for your life. Metro Exodus is available on PlayStation 4 and 5, Windows, Linux, macOS, Xbox One, and Series XS. If you want to trade in Fallout's apocalyptic theme for something more modern-like or at least pre-dystopian, then Watch Dogs 2 is the open world for you. As a hacker, you can control or manipulate the various smart devices and machines around you, so that you can execute the biggest hack in history, all to take down an invasive operating system used by criminals to manipulate citizens on a massive scale. You can develop different skills and upgrade your hacking tools such as RC cars, drones, 3D printed weapons, and otherwise. Watch Dogs 2 offers a nice big open world for you to explore and do a little hacking, a little bit of stealing, and just enjoy the environment with the tools it gives you. It's also co-op and offers adversarial multiplayer if you want to contend with other people in your game world. Personally, I thought the story was neat and it just offered a more interesting vibe to me than games like Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption, which are both great games, but I think Watch Dogs 2 might appeal a little bit more to fans of Fallout. Watch Dogs 2 is available for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows. Horizon Zero Dawn takes us on a different twist with the apocalypse. You're surrounded by a verdant world full of nature and wildlife-inspired machines. It's really fun to explore the world and seeing the contrast of machines living like natural fauna in the ecosystem. As Aloy, you'll upgrade your equipment and learn more about the world around you, and how it got that way. Overall, Horizon Zero Dawn was a really unique world to enjoy, and I had a lot of fun fighting wild machines and powering up my gear, all while exploring and just seeing what the world had to offer. So if you want a different take on the apocalyptic world, with future tech and machines, all in a lush environment and unique setting, I greatly suggest giving Horizon Zero Dawn a try. And if you enjoy it, I recommend checking out the sequel, Horizon Forbidden West. You can get Horizon Zero Dawn on PlayStation 4, 5, and Windows. While Cyberpunk 2077 might seem confining at times, as you're surrounded by the tall structures of the city in this cybernetic dystopian world, it actually has quite a bit of freedom when you get into it. While lacking in zombies or monsters, there's no shortage of heavily augmented enemies to fight and loot in this futuristic sci-fi world. In Cyberpunk 2077, you'll play as a mercenary in a fight for survival on the streets of Night City. You can thoroughly customize your character and unlock upgrades that'll empower you as you play. There are a number of weapons and weapon styles that you can utilize to dispatch enemies. Or you can decide to go a more sneaky route and try to play more passively and unseen. If you liked having a ton of characters to interact with in Fallout, and a lot of quests, you'll find no shortage of the same in Cyberpunk 2077. It's available for Windows, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series XS. If you prefer the world to be more zombie apocalyptic, then the next few games are going to suit you really well. First of which is Dying Light 2 Stay Human. One of the most unique features of Dying Light 2 is the parkour system. You'll run and jump and slide and hop from roof to roof all over the urban environment, evading zombies or simply trying to get to your objective faster. There's plenty of weapons to choose from, or you can be your own weapon as you learn to knock enemies around with your parkour skills. You can also team up with 3 other players to increase your chances of survival. Dying Light 2 offers a fun open world to explore, full of monsters which just happen to be stronger at night. The sort of run-down apocalyptic environment reminded me of Fallout, with different gangs cobbling things together for protection. There's a lot of fun to be had in Dying Light 2, and while the gameplay will certainly move faster than Fallout, I think you'll really enjoy it once you sink your teeth into it. Dying Light 2 Stay Human is available for PlayStation 4 and 5, Windows, Xbox One and Xbox Series XS, and Nintendo Switch. If you're like me and actually enjoyed the settlement building aspect of Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, then I recommend 7 Days to Die. It's got zombies, it's got dangerous nighttime, it's got leveling up and crafting, and all the base building you could want in a zombie-filled apocalyptic game. It has a couple large standard worlds to roam around and build in, or you can randomly generate your own. You can play with friends or fight them, whichever you choose. The game offers plenty to do whether you're going out as a lone wanderer or as a base builder. Just make sure you're safe when night falls. Overall, if you're looking for a survival, crafting, and building-centric game that feels a bit like Fallout, then 7 Days to Die is a great option. It's available on Linux, Microsoft, Windows, Mac OS X, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. In State of Decay 2, you're once again in a zombie apocalypse, but things are only sort of run down. It feels like things have only been run down for months as opposed to years or decades like in Fallout. Each of these zombie apocalyptic games offer slightly different mechanics on their gameplay, but those small differences really create a cohesive vibe for that particular game. With State of Decay 2, you're able to set up your home base in one of many available locations. You can recruit other characters around to help your base, and even take some of them with you to make scavenging and zombie fighting a little easier. You can loot equipment and items, and there's an overall survival aspect to it that relates not just to you, but to your tiny settlement as well. You can upgrade your base, or when you feel you've outgrown it, move somewhere with larger accommodations. What State of Decay 2 lacks in engaging quests, it more than makes up for in its little stories it tells along the way. With its dynamic system for characters and groups who are doing their own thing when you come across them, sometimes that means they help you, sometimes it means they'll fight you. Overall, I really enjoy what State of Decay 2 has going for it, and it definitely meets that scavenge, loot, and kill things vibe. State of Decay 2 is available on Windows and Xbox One. In Remnant II, you'll collect all sorts of weapons and armor in an apocalyptic world. But here, it's not zombies that befell the world, but strange and horrific monsters. Remnant 2 offers various worlds for you to venture into and explore, which can change in different ways when you play them again. Each world has its own unique feel from sci-fi to fantasy. You'll encounter bosses and the occasional puzzle, all while looting and shooting and leveling yourself up. While the gameplay isn't quite an exact match with the Fallout series, the initial world, along with some of the weapons and technology, has some similar tones, even if those tones change once when you start jumping through to other worlds. Personally, I've had a lot of fun with Remnant 2, just leveling up, hunting enemies, and exploring the worlds and their lore. With its unique weapons, it can really make things quite fun or challenging as you go up against some of the monstrous bosses in the game. And if you're having trouble solo, you can always play with up to 2 other friends. Remnant 2 is available for PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series XS. If you're only concerned about yourself and not interested in building or managing a settlement, then Dead Rising 3 has a lot of action and adventure to offer in an open, zombie-filled world. Personally, I really enjoyed just looking around at every corner of the world in Dead Rising 3. There's a lot of characters in it, and when you go into the shops and malls, you'll find some pretty quirky things. As you progress in the game, you'll be able to craft interesting gadgets from multiple items. These mostly come in the form of really sharp and deadly weapons, or ones imbued with electricity, fire, or something that's just going to explode. The game can be a bit goofy at times, but the world has a lot to love. I definitely recommend checking it out if you need some good old-fashioned zombie smashing fun, and if you like it, there are others in the series you can try out as well. And since Fallout can be a little goofy at times itself, I thought Dead Rising 3 would fit really well. It's available for Xbox One and Windows. If you think I missed a great open-world game that shares the same vibes as the more recent Fallout games, that you think should really be on the list, let me know in the comments.